I'm Dana, and buckle in, lads. This is going to be a long one. This might end up being a two-parter, to be honest with you, because for the first time in my life, I've actually kept track of everything I watched this year, and we're going to go through it, and I'm going to, if I remember, okay, I've watched a lot of movies that I, do not remember because I didn't enjoy them. I just block them out if I don't like them. There's no point keeping them in there, is there? So some of them I am going to be like, did I watched it apparently. Some of them I obviously will have opinions on. I'll try and keep them brief. I'll try and keep it I don't want this to be 7 hours long, okay? I know not you care that much. This is more for me than anything. So what I've done is every month since January, I've just written it down like this. I've just got my little list. And there's the odd episode. I watch at least 4 or 5 episodes of Doctor Who a week, but I just pick and choose whatever episodes I'm in the mood for. So I haven't written those down. I'm pretty sure everything else I've watched this year is in here. So I'm not going to do a super long intro. Let's just get into it. So the first thing I watched... See, I'm kind of annoyed that I didn't do it, in actual order. This year I'm going to, I think. I just did movies and shows, so I don't... I tend to watch movies in between shows and stuff. Anyway, so we're going to do movies first and then shows. So first movie I watched of 2024 was The Justice of Bunny King, and I actually do remember that one. This was during my New Zealand phase, and I really enjoyed that. I don't fully entirely remember the plot, but I do really clearly remember the point when she had to get the girl out of the social services office or something similar. And yeah, I remember several different scenes of it, even though it's literally been an entire year since I watched it, and I only watched it once. Then I watched The Deadlands, because again, it was my New Zealand phase. I don't remember an awful lot about that one, but I do remember being like, oh, that was really good. I might watch that again at some point. It's probably going to be in a long time. Honestly, I haven't been in my New Zealand phase for a good little while. And then we had my first Drop Dead Fred watch, because that always happens at some point. And then I don't know how to pronounce this one. I feel quite rude and silly, I won't lie to you. I really should figure it out. I'm going to call it Weena, but I know that in the fucking movie, her name was Josefina. So I feel like I should be pronouncing it Fina, but it's written with a W. It is written W-H-I-N-A, and that was one that was based on the true story of a Maori woman that did lots and lots of really, really good things for the Maori people. I don't remember it super, super, super clearly, but I did go on a bit of a Wikipedia rabbit hole because she was a very, very interesting and very cool lady, and that's one that I should watch again. Then I watched Nightmare Radio, The Night Stalker, and I remember being like, that was shit, I wish I hadn't watched that. That's all I really remember of it. Saltburn, I remember far too well. I really didn't like it. I thought the whole class discussion was quite shit. I thought a lot of scenes were just shoved in there for shock factor, not because they actually added anything to the scene or the story or the plot or the characters. I feel like it was just people on TikTok and Twitter are going to talk about this if we do this. I didn't enjoy it. Priscilla, I did quite enjoy. I'm not a very big Elvis fan. I remember crying at a whole bunch of different parts of it. But I remember the very last scene when she's driving away from Graceland with her daughter. I think it was with her daughter. I hope it was with her daughter. I remember absolutely sobbing during that and being like, babe's getting away. Then I watched Mega Time Squad. I don't remember this very well. I think Rhys Darby was in it. It was a time travel thing. I remember there were multiple points that I was like, that wouldn't work like that though, and it kind of bugged me. Happiest Season from 2020. I don't remember that at all. I guess I hated it. I don't.
We didn't hate it, bitch. Oh my god, how have we forgotten the fucking Kristen Stewart lesbian Christmas movie? Oh, I loved it. I loved it. I don't know why I forgot what it was in the moment. I'm literally editing right after filming and I remember it fine.
Recall it in the slightest. Then I rewatched all of the Hunger Games movies. Love them. I really like them. I'm not the biggest fan of Jennifer Lawrence or either of the boys that are in it, to be fair. I don't really care about anybody that's in the Hunger Games movies. But I liked the books as a teenager. I was, I'm that age that they were coming out when I was in high school. Obviously, I ended up being into them. Then I rewatched 28 Days Later because Christopher Eccleston's just fantastic in it. And then I watched the new Mean Girls, the 2024 it's not new now, the 2024 Mean Girls. I didn't hate it, to be fair. I didn't love it. It wasn't, great, but I enjoyed it. It was fun. That's the thing. It's a lot of things I'm like, I didn't necessarily like or enjoy it, but I did find it fun. Then I watched Bodies, Bodies, Bodies from 2022. See, a lot of these as well are very, I should be more organised and like put them all into a letterbox thing. And then when I see the covers and when I recognise the characters, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that movie. But just thinking about them, I kind of don't, you know? I need something to jog my memory. I do remember 8th grade though, because it was another one where I was like, I get that this is meant to be like a sort of slow-paced coming of age sort of movie. It was another one I was like, I could have just not watched that. Like, it's not necessarily a waste of time, but there's so many things that I would have done with that time if I'd known it was going to be like that, you know? Then I did another watch of With Nail and I. I've watched that a whole bunch of times. I've met Paul McGann, like the what side is it? The Doctor Who VHS tape here is signed by Paul McGann. I obviously remember that very, very well. And then I also watched Rare Beasts from 2021, and that's the one that has Billy Piper and Kerry Fox and David Thewlis and Montserrat Lombard. So, and Leo Bill, to be fair. Leo Bill never has like big roles and things that I like, but he's quite often there. And Rare Beasts was probably one of my favourite movies I watched in 2024, honestly. I really, really enjoyed it. So moving on to the shows I watched in January. I watched The Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard. I don't necessarily feel good about it because I have a lot of opinions about the whole Gypsy Rose case and the way that the internet's treated her and all of that I don't really want to share on the internet because I think it's all quite controversial, but I kind of regret watching it, but I did find it extremely fascinating. Then I watched Jack of All Trades from 2000, and that was fucking fantastic. I heavily recommend Jack of All Trades, actually, now that I've thought about it again. Absolutely adored it. I think it was an American-New Zealand, like, crossover production, and Jack is just this absolute fucking arsehole of a misogynist. He's like, kind of the worst man in the world. He's like fucking Gaston from Beauty and the Beast or something, and he's just bopping about doing, like, insane things at, like, the start of colonising, like, America, maybe. It's absolutely fucking wild. It's one of the most bizarre shows I've ever watched. I really need to rewatch it because it was so much fucking fun. I really enjoyed it. It was great. Then I watched Creamery, and this is another one that I remember extremely well because it's one of those things where they're like, we have a utopia for women, and then you find out what they're doing to the men. It was funny, it was gross, it made me feel like horrible for so many of the characters, and it was a really, really good show. And that came out in 2021. I need to see if there's a new season of that out, actually. This is one of the really good things for, like, keeping track of things like that, because I just don't know when I would have thought about that again. And now I'm like, shit, I need to look up the next season. That was a really good show. Then I watched Double Parked because it had the woman that played Archie in Our Flag Means Death in it, and she was a lesbian in it. And I remember finding it fun and thinking it was cute. And it's another one that I'll probably look up if there's another season or not. I did enjoy it enough to do that. It didn't really feel like anything particularly special, but I also really like that we're getting like just like standard little sitcom shows with like queer characters in, you know? Like I do think that's a really good thing. Then I watched After the Flood because that had Sophie, I want to say Sophie Randall, but I actually don't feel that is her name. I literally have a poster of her on my wall over there, the one that played Anne Walker in Gentleman Jack. Her name will come to me at some point, but it had her and Philip Bannister in, and that was just a very typical little BBC, like, limited one season, here's your story, this is what's gone on, be done with it kind of cop show. I really enjoyed it. It's exactly my kind of thing. I love a cop show with Philip Bannister in. I then watched Queen of Oz, which was the where Catherine Tate is like the Queen of Australia or something. It wasn't particularly good, to be honest with you. I've never found Catherine Tate all that funny. I like her on like a personal level, but I don't have the same sense of humour. I don't find her all that funny. There was an episode that had me in absolute tears because they just kept having a trauma dump about all the bullying that she received in school, and it was all for being fat and ginger, and I was like, this is actually quite personal. Like, I actually am kind of like emotionally injured right now. I didn't really enjoy it. Yeah. Then I watched There She Goes, which is the one with David Tennant and Jessica Hines that have a daughter that has... No, I don't remember what it's called. For a bunch of it, they think that she might be autistic, but then she receives a different type of diagnosis. And that's the type of thing that I didn't necessarily enjoy because a lot of it is really heavy and a lot of it reminded me of my own childhood. And it's quite a sad show to watch. But I also do think that it's a really impactful one and really, like, I can imagine a lot of people feeling very, like, validated and seen and relate, like, being able to relate to the parents in it and stuff. And I think it probably had, like, a very good effect on a lot of people. And I also think it's very, like, it's nice to see that sort of representation, you know? Like, I wouldn't be like, it was so fun, but I think it's important to watch things that aren't fun as well, and I thought it was really good. Then I watched Brassic, which is one of the shows that I watched like so fucking quickly that I don't overly remember it, and I really should watch it again. But I only watched it because I like Joseph Gilgun, and I don't really want to watch it again, to be honest with you. Then I watched Deadwater Fell, which I didn't realise was written by Stephen Moffat until I started going off online somewhere about how terribly written all of the women were, and someone was like, well, it's written by Stephen Moffat, what did you expect? And I was like, well, now that I know that, yeah. It wasn't the worst, it wasn't the best. I won't be watching it again, but I didn't hate it. I then finally got around to watching Des, which I'd put off for fucking ages because I just really, really, really fucking hate Daniel Mays. And I hate that he's the gov in it, and I hate all these 80s cops looking up to him. I fucking hate. I had an absolute David Tennant moment at the start of 2024, and I don't really know why, but I did. So then I also watched Inside Man, and I'm sure that was something with David Tennant in, but it's entirely gone. I don't remember it at all. And that's a bit weird because I do tend to remember TV shows better than I remember movies. But we're moving on to February. I watched Last Night in Soho for the first time. So good. I watched this with the Discord like literally a few nights ago. I think it's near on a perfect movie. I think it's so interesting. It's so like there's just nothing I don't like about it. It's genuinely like very close to being a perfect movie for me. Then I watched Mad to Be Normal, and I remember it had David Tennant in, and it was based on a true story. And he was like some like psychologist come doctor type of person that was trying out really weird shit. I remember not enjoying it, thinking a lot of it was really just like, I didn't enjoy it basically. I don't even have the words for it because I was just like, oh, okay. I feel like it was the type of thing where they want you to feel like you just don't get it, and it's like, no, I do get it, I just don't think it's that good. I then watched The Menu because I feel like people keep bringing this up and talking about it. I didn't think it was all that deep. Like, I've seen people do like video essays about it and everything, and I just, like, I didn't dislike it per se, but I feel like I've seen a lot of other movies that are very, very, very fucking similar to it. Like, none of it was really all that unexpected or out of the blue or, like, insane to me. I was just like, it's, you know, like, I liked it, but it was also exactly what I expected from that type of movie, and people really diverted my expectations for it. See, I then, a bunch of these, like, I do not recall. So I watched Watcher from 2022. I'm assuming that's that one where they're like in the house and they get the letter. I don't remember it at all. Like, now that I've said that, I do vaguely remember the dad that was in it, but that's if I'm even talking about the right thing. I then watched Eileen from 2023. Again, I'm actually going to jog my memory for this one because I feel like I did like that. So if I remember it upon seeing like the cover for it. Oh, I watched it because it was gay. I don't think I did actually enjoy it outside of the lesbianism. So yeah, that's that. Marrowbone, I'm going to check again. I'm fairly sure that was the one with Matt Smith in it. I think I did actually kind of like that. No, it wasn't Matt Smith. Who was? Surely it was. Oh, it was for Anya Taylor-Joy. Anya Taylor-Joy was in it. I'd really liked Last Night in Soho, so I watched Marrowbone, and that was really good actually. It was like, now that I've seen the picture, I remember it fully. It was really, really fucking good. It was a proper thriller that like had me on the edge of my seat the entire time, and there were a fair few moments that were like genuinely terrifying. It wasn't terrifying in the way of like things coming at you, oh, it's so spooky, in the way a lot of horror films do, especially ones from 2018. It was very like the whole time just being like tense and being like, oh god, oh god, and then the thing would happen and you were expecting it, so it wasn't a jump scare, but it was still like fucking scary. Then I watched Clerk from 2021, which is just a documentary about like Kevin Smith making Clerks and generally about Kevin Smith, and I loved it. I love Kevin Smith. I rewatch that like twice a year. It's just a really good little documentary. I then watched the Jay and Silent Bob super groovy cartoon movie from 2013. It's not my favourite thing from Kevin Smith, but it's still really enjoyable and fun and I like it. The End We Start From was the one with Joel Fry and Jodie Comer, and that was fantastic. It's a sort of like apocalypse couple got to get back to each other type of movie. Really enjoyed it. They both gave like such incredible fucking performances in it. I've seen Joel Fry in like quite a few things now, and I also saw him live in The Duchess. He was like, I really fucking like Joel Fry. I feel like he's sort of pigeonholed as being like the awkward character, but when he's given the chance to like thrive outside of that, he is such a versatile actor, and I really want to see people like just do more with him. And then I'm just gonna sit here and check actually, which is kind of tricky because I need to make sure it's still filming the whole time. But I am going to actually bother looking them up for you because that's the thing, is I'm like, we're just gonna take it chill, guys. This is my special interest. I do actually deeply care, I'm afraid. So All of Us Strangers. That was the one with Andrew Scott. Yeah, that was fantastic as well. I feel like I quite often have like little bursts where I watch like really good shit all one after the next. I'm like, oh my god. And then all of a sudden I'm back to stuff where I'm like, I don't remember that. That wasn't very good. I don't really know. But yeah, All of Us Strangers was the one with Andrew Scott. It's a little bit gay. It's just, mwah, it was really fucking good. There were so many twists and turns where I was like, oh, I see what's happening. And then something else would happen. I'd be like, I don't see what's happening. But having said that, it also wasn't too confusing, and it actually like gave payoff, you know? The shows I watched in February were Selfie from 2014. This one that has Karen Gillan in. And I fucking loved this because she's put across as being this like so self-absorbed. She just doesn't care about anybody but herself. Like, oh my god. And like honestly, bitch is just autistic. Like everything she does is just an autistic trait. Like it's not that she doesn't care about you, it's that she's hyper-focused. Like everything she did, I was like, yeah, sure, that would annoy people, but also it's autism. And then watched Wilderness from 2023. I don't remember that. If quite frankly, if it's a show and I have no memory of it, like I watched that for at least 6 hours most likely, and I don't remember it. I'm not looking it up. Then I watched I Hate Susie, and I Hate Susie is another one that I watch like probably once a year. I just think it's really fucking good. I think it's one of the best things that Billie Piper's done, and that's really saying something because I really like everything Billie Piper's done, and I just every time I feel like I get something new from it. I think it's a really, really well made, really fucking good show. I hate the little 70s bitch at the end of it though. Life on Mars fans will get it. Like she didn't need to be there. I then watched Black Books. And I only watched this because my friend at the time had been like hounding me to watch it the entire time I knew them because it was their favourite thing. And like maybe I'd have enjoyed it more if I hadn't been hounded to watch it, but I found a lot of the episodes just really slow and boring. And it's like, yeah, there was this one like really funny part 20 minutes in and nothing else funny happened. It's not my kind of humour. I didn't really get it. I didn't really enjoy it. Given that I do usually really enjoy Channel 4 comedy though, I do feel like it's just that I was like being absolutely, like I could barely fucking breathe. I couldn't mention watching anything without them being like, are you watching Black Books though? And it's like, no, I'm fucking not. I'm like 6 seasons deep in this other thing, like go away. So I then watched Our Friends in the North, and this was my first time watching it, and I fucking loved it. I love most things Christopher Eccleston does, to be fair, although I still haven't been able to get through Cracker. I've watched the first episode of Cracker like 6 times, and I cannot get into it. But Our Friends in the North I did get into, and it was one of those things that I watched like almost like a movie. Like I just sat down and ended up watching it and really enjoyed it. And then I did my typical thing of my Life on Mars and Ashes to Ashes rewatch. It just always has to happen. They're the best show. Ashes to Ashes is the best show. So March, I was in America like the entire time, so I didn't have time to watch very much. I watched Last Girl Wins on the plane ride there. I watched Singing in the Rain while we were there. I watched quite a lot of Renovation Aloha with one of our friends that we were staying with. And I also watched the celebrity stand-up to cancer charity bake-off thing that Jodie Whittaker was in. That was all I watched in March. We were technically already in April when we flew back, so I watched Insidious, The Red Door, while I was on the flight. I love the Insidious films. I would say that like I also really love the Scream films, but like the Insidious movies are pretty up there on my list of horror. I really like them. I know people like are really shitty. See, the thing is, it's Elise and the 2 guys in the first one. I love having a little team of like the Lone Gunmen type vibe. I really enjoy the Insidious movies. We've been here before. Then I watched Scoop, because I watched it the day it came out. It was starring Keely Hawes, Gillian Anderson and Billie Piper. I loved it. I don't care what it's about. I do think it was good in general, to be fair, and I love it when things like shit on the monarchy because, you know, Prince Andrew's a nonce and all that, and I think people should be very, very, very aware of it. I don't think that he should be roaming about. I don't think his mummy should have been allowed to fucking protect him. It's bullshit. So I appreciate them talking about that, but I watched it for the casting, let's face it. It was great casting. I then watched Marie Antoinette because I thought I was going to have like a Sophia Coppola moment, but I also, like, I always enjoy them while I'm watching them, but I also put off watching them. You know, like I haven't seen Marie Antoinette before this, and it came out in 2006. And I just put it off and put it off and put it off every single time she brings out a movie. And then I finally watch it, and while I'm in it, like while I'm in the moment, I'm like, oh, that's good, I like this. Like the aesthetic of it and the vibe of it and the way it makes me feel in the moment, I really enjoy. The moment I'm done watching it, I'm gonna put it off watching it again for like fucking forever. I don't know, there's just something about it that makes me do that. Then I watched Drop Dead Gorgeous, and this was starring Minnie Driver and Jerry Lauren Adams, and I really, really, really fucking enjoyed it because they just have such a vibe between them. And obviously, I'm used to Jerry Lauren Adams being Alyssa, so there's just like a sort of like gay vibe to the whole movie, and it's a very typical 1999 like chick flick kind of film. I love it. I think they're really fun. They really amuse me. They really entertain me. I like them. Then I watched The Beguiled, and we're gonna have to look this up again. Oh yeah, I was having my little oh my god, what even is her fucking name? Kirsten Dunst. I was having a little Kirsten Dunst moment. Unfortunately Kirsten Dunst is in a lot of films that I don't enjoy, to be honest with you. Looking at the picture, I'm like, yeah, I'm sure I watched it. I'm pretty sure they were like a load of girls in a school and then like some men showed up. I don't really remember. I didn't really like it. Then I watched Charlie Says, and I feel like when I see this, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, that. Oh yeah, it was about Charles Manson. Matt Smith played Charles Manson. Annabeth Gish was the doctor within the prison that he was held in. This, I've watched. I don't like this about myself, but I unfortunately do have like some degree of a, I don't want to call it a special interest, but a fascination perhaps with Charles Manson. And it's not in the way of like, I wouldn't have been writing to him in prison if he was still alive or anything. Like, I don't like him, but like the way that he was able to like brainwash people and build a community in that way, I find it all just really interesting in a really, really horrible way. And I would say that honestly, I feel like this is one of the better representations of like the whole event, you know? Like, it actually showed the girls being like genuinely traumatized. It made him look like a fucking asshole, which he was, obviously. Like, Matt Smith played him really fucking well and like really gave me the fucking creeps and the heaps, and like I think this was like, I don't think we should be making films about this type of thing, to be honest. I think it's really weird to like romanticize and glamorize it in the way that films do. But I don't think this did it as badly as a lot of others do, you know? Okay. I watched Poor Things. And this is another one where I feel like they were really like, oh, if you don't like it, then you just don't get it. And it's like, no, I understood it. I just, again, was like, oh, you've made it really pretty. I just don't really care. I'm sorry, the man that's in it, the man that plays the Incredible Hulk, I don't think he's a good actor. I don't understand why he's in things. I don't think he puts emotion across well. One of my big things with liking movies and TV shows as an autistic person is that I can really study people's faces and tell what they're putting across, you know? That's the point, is as actors, you're giving me an emotion. And I feel like so often, he either doesn't give me any fucking emotion, or he gives me the wrong one. And it does distract me from the film, and it does, like, make it harder for me to understand the plot of the movies that he's in, to be quite honest with you. So it's just as well he's normally in Marvel shit where you really don't need to understand the plot. I don't like him at all. I then watched Lost River, and I don't really remember this, but I do remember not liking it when I finished it. Yeah, that was the one where like stuff was happening and then Matt Smith was driving around screaming, and I was like, that's one that I will give. I didn't get it. I did not understand Lost River. Like, that is one where like I don't feel like I can really give you an opinion on it either way, because I didn't get it. Like, I don't know, I just wasn't paying enough attention or focusing on the right things or what, but I really, like, there was definitely something happening there that I just want in on. Then I watched Terminator Genesis. I'm not the biggest fan of the Terminator films in general anyway, okay? I think at some point my ex made me watch the first Terminator movie. I've seen Terminator 2 a handful of times by choice because I like Robert Patrick. I watched the Sarah Connor Chronicles because I like Lena Headey and Shirley Manson. I don't really get the whole thing. I think Sarah Connor's cool when she's in it. Otherwise, I'm just like, yay, robots. It really wasn't fucking for me. I only watched it because Matt Smith was in it for like 6 seconds. It was a waste of my time. I'll give that the Terminator is one of those things. It's very similar to like Star Wars and Star Trek, where I'm like, I totally think this is a good thing and I see why people would be into it. I'm just not. I also watched Morbius because Matt Smith's in it, and I was having a Matt Smith moment, and like, we all hate Morbius, right? Like, that isn't one that has a fan base. That isn't one where like some people see the good in it. Like, that was just bad. I didn't like it at all. I then watched Drive Away Dolls, and I saw a lot of people talking about this. I thought it was like something like really, really cool and amazing and special, and like, I liked it. I don't think I'm going to watch it again. I don't remember it very well, but like, it was fine. the First Wives Club I did really enjoy, though. It was the same friend that was badgering at me to watch fucking Black Books. But the First Wives Club was like, no, that actually very much is my kind of thing. I actually really enjoyed that. It was absolute icons that were in it, but I don't remember the cast list. I've only seen it the once. I should watch it again. And then I watched 2002's Crossroads, and I have no concept or memory of that. Like, most things I have, like, some vague thing about, but oh no, it's when Britney Spears drives across they drove from Arizona to California, and I was like, I've done that. That's one of those very typical, like, early noughties, very fun American movies. I would actually, yeah. See, when I think Crossroads, I think of the movie that fucking Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio did at some point. And I knew it wasn't that, but it made me completely blank on what it was, but no, I did actually like that. The TV shows, I watched season 35 of The Simpsons. I loved it. The Simpsons isn't a special interest, and it's not something I think about all that often, but I really enjoy The Simpsons when I watch it, and I don't think it gets worse. I know this is controversial. I don't think it gets worse. I think it changes. I think it evolves. There's definitely things that I prefer in the earlier seasons that are lacking in the later ones, and vice versa. I do wish that there were more of the moments that show that Homer actually does try to think about people and things like that. Like, it's not perfect at any point, in my opinion, but I enjoy all of it. Like, I vaguely semi-keep up with The Simpsons, and I like it. I then watched Percy Jackson, and I've never been a Percy Jackson person. I didn't read the books. I saw the movie back when that came out, and obviously it wasn't very good, so I didn't get into it. But I did really enjoy the show, and I'll give that some of it is that I watched it with Winter, and they're a big Percy Jackson person, so there were lots of moments where they paused and they were like, do you know about this? And I was like, no, I don't know about this. And they got to info dump, and I got to, like, listen and learn, and it's actually really interesting. So it's one of those things where, like, if I was, like, under the age of 17, I think it would have become a special interest. I'd be really, really obsessed. I'm just a little bit too old for it, but I've still really enjoyed watching it. I'm going to keep up with it. I also watched Heartbreak High Season 2. Pretty much just watched that for Chloe Hayden, but, like, again, I think I'm just that bit too old for it to be, like, genuinely invested. But I still, like, I see all the things that I would have enjoyed if I was that little bit younger. And I can still enjoy it in my own way now. I just don't get, like, into it in the way that I think I would have if I was, like, a whole 10 years younger. Starstruck? It weirds me out when I don't remember shows, because I'm like, I've watched you, obviously. It's an ITV singing competition. I don't have any concept or memory of watching that. I have no idea. Like, I don't know. I then watched Baby Reindeer because that was the thing that everyone was watching. I didn't think it was particularly good. And all the, like, controversy and bullshit drama that came afterwards really put me off the man that's in it. I don't know, I don't know, I really don't know how I feel about it. Oh, Bloods was fun. Bloods was the ambulance show that has Nathan Fode and, I need their names, Samson Kao and Jane Horrocks. Absolutely hilarious, so funny. I can't believe I forgot that it was called Bloods. I watched, there's a short show on YouTube where they've, like, got multiple episodes called Paramedics. And I was expecting it to have more of a name like that because it's about paramedics. But no, Bloods, yeah, that was great. Things you should have done. I fully don't remember the next several shows I'm going to be telling you about. I'm very sorry. I'm going to look them up and see if I do, but I don't think I do. Oh, it's the one with Chia. I don't remember it. I'm sorry. I'm guessing that I didn't find it all that funny or all that good, and it does also only have 6.9 on IMDb. Yeah, I like her. She did YouTube videos, and I think it's probably on TikTok and stuff. And then, like, she's really funny, so she got her own show, but I don't think I found the show funny. And finally, in April, I watched The 7 Lives of Leah. I have, like, a vague memory of that. I only watched it because it was a time travel thing, and it wasn't my type of time travel, so I didn't overly enjoy it, but I didn't hate it. Okay, May's gonna be the last month that we do, and this is gonna be a 2-part video, because I don't have, like, the physical, actual, like, phone and computer hardware for post this, because May was a fucking tough month for me. I wasn't having a good time. So this is what my movie list looks like for May. So, May was also, May was the month that I met Kevin Smith, so I was just so fucking obsessed with him. So, we've got Yoga Hose. I might be able to go through this, actually, relatively quickly and just give you the favourite Kevin Smith movies. Like, I have a video that I'll link up here of when I did the full info dump on why I love Kevin Smith and all of his movies and what I think about, like, most of his movies. I might do an updated version of it, to be fair. I think I might do an update. I want to bring back the info dump. But yeah, I'll link it there for now. So, Yoga Hosers, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, Jersey Girl, Red State, Zack and Miri Make a Porno. All Kevin Smith films, some of my absolute all-time favourite films. He's my all-time favourite director for a reason. I think they're all perfect. Madness in the Method is the movie that Jason Mewes directed. It's perfect. Again, like, I don't count Jason Mewes as one of my favourite directors because I'm fairly sure that's the only movie he's done. If he does more, he could get up there, because I already fucking love him because of the Kevin Smith connection, and it was really fucking good. I would heavily recommend watching Madness in the Method, but I never remember which way round I want to say it. Ghost Team, I remember being like, that was shit. I had to keep pausing it and generally just didn't enjoy it. House of Darkness, I don't remember though. Oh, I do. They were vampires and they wanted to kill Justin Long and he was really awkward about it. This was a big, like I said, I met Kevin Smith, so it's a lot of stuff with, like, fucking people like Kevin Smith movies in. So House of Darkness, and then we had Barbarian. This is my least favourite horror film of all time. I spat at you then because it's my least favourite. I fucking hated it. I absolutely fucking... I have, like, a visceral reaction to this movie. If you like horror films, if you like being so disgusted you feel genuinely a little bit sick and just feeling so on edge and so uncomfortable and just, like, I didn't feel any moment of, like, pleasure or anything positive while watching Barbarian. Like, Justin Long plays, like, the worst character ever in it. He's such an asshole. It absolutely sent me. It was the closest I've come to having fucking nightmares based on a horror film since I saw The Babadook. Like, I have so much respect for it. I think it's, like, brilliantly done as a horror film. I'm never, ever, ever watching it again. I didn't enjoy it at all. Tusk I do enjoy. I had to watch Tusk to get Barbarian out of my mind, obviously. Oh, I didn't enjoy After Class. Justin Long's a professor and he's just kind of an... That's the thing, is I really actively like Justin Long, but Otis is being the way that Otis is. Yeah, I really love Justin Long as an actor, but he plays so many characters that I'm just like, you're a fucking asshole. You have no redeeming quality. I want you to go away. Then I watched Dogma because Kevin Smith. You're not going to believe this. In May 2024, I watched Good Will Hunting for the first time. I really didn't enjoy it. I fucking hate fucking Ben Affleck, man. I really don't like Ben Affleck. I get why it's, like, the way that it is. I get why people like it. I get why it's, like, in the cultural zeitgeist. I didn't enjoy it. I won't be watching it again. Starman, I only very, very, very vaguely remember the 1984 film. It got me onto the director, I think. I think that was what that was. Let me just search it. Yeah, this got me into my old John Carpenter thing. It wasn't my favourite, and like I said, I don't remember it overly. Now that I've seen the cover, I'm like, I'm pretty sure he was an alien. I mean, it's called fucking Starman. But yeah, I watched that. Then I watched 2009's Afterlife. Oh, this was good, actually. It was Liam Neeson and Christina Ricci and Joseph Long. Wait, where am I? There. I don't actually remember the plot now that I've said that. I thought I did. There was a whole, like, it's called Afterlife, so I'm pulling a lot from that. I remember, like, Justin Long getting upset because I think that, like, Liam Neeson, like, brought his girlfriend back to life or something. I don't remember, but I remember, like, finishing it and being like, oh, that was great. Like, sometimes Justin Long gives you really good things. Then I watched Mallrats. And then I watched Serial Mom, and I'd never seen this before. It had Matthew Lillard in. I really need to have a proper Matthew Lillard moment really soon. And, she's the perfect little suburban mum that just goes out and starts murdering people that piss off her and her kids and her husband and, like, make sure that the town's perfect for the family. It's so funny. It's so silly. It has such a specific vibe to it that I just absolutely adored. I only have good things to say about Serial Mom. And then I watched Madness in the Method again because I hadn't seen it before. I just hadn't really been onto it. And then suddenly I was, and it's brilliant. It's really, really good. And then I watched Clerks 2 and Clerks 3, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, Clerks, Mallrats, Dogma, Bill and Ted Face the Music, a little bit different. I just needed a different duo for, like, one moment. Then we watched Spontaneous. Spontaneous was fantastic. I didn't even need to like fully Google. I just saw the picture, remembered. People start spontaneously combusting, but not in like fire. Like they just blow up and there's blood everywhere, and they get you so into every fucking character and like why it's happening and what's going on. 10 out of 10. I really really enjoyed that. No one will save you. Oh, I remember this. I remember really liking the main character in it. Was she? No, I don't know who that is actually. I quite like most of the characters in it. I liked the alien design. I do remember how the aliens looked and how like that progressed. I I should watch that again actually. That was a really fun little alien film. I enjoyed that. Yeah, No One Will Save You was good. The Retaliators. I feel like I should know that off the top of my head, but I don't. But I feel like the moment I see it. The Retaliators had Brian O'Halloran in it. He's the asshole at the Christmas tree farm. I loved it for him, but I didn't think it was overly all that good. Otherwise, there were a lot of moments that I was just like, why would someone do that though? Like, it does bug me when there's like violence and murder and stuff in horror films where it's like, nothing's like prompted this. Like, I'm aware that sometimes like violence and murders do happen for no reason, but it's not for no reason. It's not like the person doing it is like dealing with a thing or whatever. And in this, it felt like a lot of people were just, well, I can murder you, so I am. And it's like, but why would you? Then I watched Tusk again. Then I watched Hell Baby, and that was a fucking waste of time. That was one of the worst things I've ever seen. You know when actors are saying lines, and you can just tell that even they don't think it's funny? Like, it just, not good, not good. Jane Silent Bob reboot. House on Haunted Hill. I didn't expect this to be nearly as good as it was. Oh, I've just realised every time I move, the camera does, and Otis is washing. I'm just gonna pray. 1999 shot out with some like absolute horror films, and House on Haunted Hill is one of those very like, you can't tell where it's going because it doesn't really feel like anybody that was making the film knew where it was gonna go. And then they got a special effects budget and they were like, it's going there. And I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I then watched How High from 2001. And I'm wondering if I missed something here actually, because I swear to God I watched How High Half Baked before I watched that, but I haven't mentioned that. So I'm not sure what happened there. But yeah, it's a typical fucking stoner movie. Of course I love it. The Immaculate Room. Oh no, I remember The Immaculate Room because it was so fucking boring. Two people are like stuck in a room together and they're gonna like win a prize, and the room like tries to work against them. Like the man gets a woman in, and it just wasn't very good. I just don't really know what they wanted it to be. I do feel like that might be another one where like I genuinely didn't get it. Like maybe there was like some whole bigger thing and I just didn't get it, but I didn't enjoy it anyway. Then I watched Magnum Opus, which is the making of the Jane Silent Bob reboot. It's just like the fun behind the scenes and what they get up to and stuff. Like I just enjoy it. Then this is where I got into like my actual John Carpenter moment. So I watched 16 Candles. I'd never seen that before. I'd only seen the Disney remake with Debbie Ryan. I really enjoyed it. I've seen The Breakfast Club a bunch and really enjoyed it. I watched Weird Science for the first time and I absolutely loved it. Oh, I forgot about that until this exact moment. I need to watch Weird Science again. Editing this is going to be so tricky because every like 4 sentences I'm going to be like, I want to watch that movie right now. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Planes, Trains and Automobiles, She's Having a Baby, Uncle Buck, Curly Sue. I think those are all of John Carpenter's movies. I think I sat down over like 3 days and just watched the whole lot, to be honest with you. I enjoyed them all. Like none of them were a miss for me. I really genuinely enjoyed every single one of them. I really enjoy when directors sort of like have a vibe and they stick with it. You know, it's one of the things I really like about Kevin Smith. It's one of the things I used to really like about Peter Jackson back in the day. And it's one of the things I really enjoyed about those films. Then I thought I was going to have a Seth Rogen moment because I do really like Seth Rogen. And we also, like, at the fucking Universal tour we were on, he was, like, further up a road that we drove past and he waved to, like, the bus. He didn't wave to me. He waved to the bus. But in my mind, I'm like, Seth Rogen waved at me, though, that one time. It was really cool. An American Pickle definitely isn't, like, my favourite movie from him, though. And to make up for that, I watched That Can Maybe Make a Porno again right afterwards. And that put me straight back into my moment. So then I watched... Oh no, I watched Chasing Amy and Clerk and then I watched Beautiful, and that was what I was talking about before when I told you about Drop Dead Gorgeous. That was the film with Minnie Driver and... Isn't it? Yeah, Beautiful from 2000 is the film that I told you about when I was talking about Drop Dead Gorgeous. Drop Dead Gorgeous is a film with Kirsten Dunst that I only very vaguely remember. in the very back of my mind and couldn't tell you much about. Then I rewatched Accepted, which is after Tusk, Accepted is my favourite Justin Long movie. He builds a fucking college for all of the outcasts and the people that couldn't get into college and the people that don't know where else to go or where else to be, and makes it into a happy place where everyone's just accommodated to and accepted. It's fucking beautiful, and I will forever be a shithead. Oh, cheerleaders die. See, that's the thing. I try to watch new films and then I'm like, I didn't like it, so I forgot it. Oh, cheerleaders die. I'm reading the plot for it and it sounds really familiar, but I don't actually remember All Cheerleaders Die, I won't lie to you. We then watched A Cool Dry Place, which I also do not remember. Oh no, I do remember that because there was a whole like love triangle thing with fucking Vince Vaughn, Jerry Lauren Adams and some other woman. And I was like, as if Vince Vaughn would ever have a fucking love triangle around him. Like, no. And I also thought that it was going to either go the way of like a poly thing or lesbian thing, and it just didn't. It was just very straight. And like, it was from 1999. I should have known it would be. But yeah, I thought it was going to be different than it really was. Assassination Nation. I vaguely remember this. I basically had like a little girl power moment where I was like, I just want to watch loads of like, you know, those very specific films that are like American high schoolers that are like kind of middle class, like they don't really have any concerns or worries. So something happens and the shit goes down and they're just a bit fucking mental. I really enjoy that. I watched Lisa Frankenstein and I did enjoy it until I realised that the man in it is one of the Sprouse twins. And then I had like a whole existential thing where I was like, oh my god, do I fancy one of the Sprouse twins? And I was like, I think I just like men that don't speak. Like, I think that's the thing, is because as soon as he started talking, I realised it was a Sprouse twin. I was like, ugh. But maybe it was nothing to do with him being a Sprouse twin. Maybe it was just that he was a man talking and that put me off. I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because Harley Quinn Smith's in it. It was very long, it was very boring, and it was only when the credits rolled that I realised that it was Leonardo DiCaprio and not Brad Pitt. Which is, like, concerning for me because they're both people that I've watched a lot of films in. But I watched stuff with them in from, like, the 90s. And they're slowly growing into the same person. It's weird. And then to finish off May, I watched all the Scream movies. I watched a whole lot of them. I thought there were 4, and there is in fact 6. Like, it's just Scream movie after Scream movie. I'm so sorry. Otis is doing something. I need to go and kill him. So yeah, like I was saying, there were way more Scream films than I fucking expected there to be, and I just ended up sitting down and watching them a lot. I thought it was going to be like a one-day thing, but I had 2 days of just watching the Scream films. I love them. I absolutely adore them. Like, they're most certainly my favourite horror films. I know they're not always the best, especially the later ones. I do think the first one's the best. I think the first one's perfect and the second one isn't too bad either. Like, it is a series that I think gets worse as it goes on. But it starts in such a high place that it doesn't end in a bad one, you know? So yeah, that's everything I watched between January and May of 2024. We've still got a way to go. Oh my god, I didn't do the... when did I stop doing the TV shows? Okay, I did... Okay, we did shows for April. I've just got to do the shows for May. I finally watched Line of Duty. I've watched the first 3 episodes of Line of Duty, like, probably 4 or 5 times, because I've known for so long it was a show that I needed to get around to for Keeley. And once I got into it, I did actually really enjoy Line of Duty. But it was also a thing... Thank you. Otis has been just walking directly across my laptop lately, and he's never been like that, and he just walked around it properly. But yeah, I most of the actors in Line of Duty are people that have already been in other things that I've watched, and it's like, excuse me, Mr. Adrian Dunbar, I don't trust you. Excuse me, Mr. Daniel Mays, I don't trust you. Excuse me, Mr. Sacha Dhawan, I don't trust you. Excuse me, Mr. Cannibal Man from Torchwood, I don't trust you. So all I really had that I trusted was Lindsay Denton, Joe, played by Liz Wyatt, and fucking Vicky McClure. Like, it was just those 3. Everyone else, I was like, I also watched From Here to There, because I watched that again, like, once or twice a year, because I just really like seeing Liz Wyatt and Philip Bannister together. I just love them both so much, and it makes me happy. And I finished off May watching My Name is Earl. Like, I really gave in on the fucking whole Kevin Smith thing there, and I was like, I guess we're just going, like, the full Jason Lee way. Like, it's basically Earl that's in, like, Clerks 3. For films that I've watched so fucking often, you'd think I'd remember. But, like, I really fucking enjoyed My Name is Earl. I really adored Randy. The whole vibe of the show, it was just It was kind of perfect, honestly. I can't believe it took me this long to get onto My Name is Earl. I really loved it. I'm definitely going to rewatch it again at some point. But obviously, like, I watch a lot of stuff. It takes me a hot minute to get around to rewatches. And it's taken me a hot minute to make this bloody video. I don't want to stretch this as content because it is way more so for me than for you guys. So I will be back tomorrow with the second part, and then do like an actual content video on the day that I'm supposed to upload a video. As always though, if you did want to give me a little follow over on TikTok and Instagram to like see more of my content, that'd be really cool. I also have a Blue Sky account now, but I'm not sure I've posted anything over there. I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't really know if I want it. So I'll link that down below along with my Patreon and my Ko-fi if you want to support me financially, but there's never any pressure. You do not have to. It's fucking January. It's horrible weather. We've just had Christmas and all the stressful stuff. Do something nice for yourself. So yeah, I think that's all the stuff that I have to like promote at the end of these. I've been talking about films for literally like over an hour, okay? I'm trying my best. I'll see you tomorrow. Whoever you are, wherever you are. I hope you have a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year. And again, I will see you tomorrow.